we're going to take. It's going to be in here somewhere. This is the route we're going to take. We're starting right here, right at this corner right here. This is the corner of Factory Road and Cook Road. We're going all the way down Cook Road. We're going on to County Route 6, but then we're coming up here to the Webster Road. And we're going to turn around part way up where the building started, I remember. And then we're going to come back down, but there's also stuff in here that actually I remember. But this is the Factory Road. And as you come up the Factory Road into County Route 6, I own property right on that corner, right where the cheese factory was. Only on the opposite side of the road. Cheese factory was right here at the end of the road. About right there. The only people that I remember, I'll get to my mother, talking about was Northups, Catlins, and Millsaps. Now, the Catlin boys, in fact, I talked with Junior just about a couple weeks ago, and he's in St. Joe's Nursing Home, and he remembers that they bought the place from Northups, and they sold it to Bickelhop, or sold it to Millsap, and now it belongs to, they sold it to Cecil Millsap, and then Cecil ended up selling it to Lawrence Millsap, and this would be his son Max. Down here on the right side we're coming up to, you'll see a barn up here, and the first people that I remember living here was Newroth, and they were another family that had a farm up in Pine Camp or Fort Drum, and they bought them out. Now right along in here, when we went by it, there is a cement ramp, and he had a farm in another place which we will go by later, and this is how he used to transport his machinery from one place to another. He would load them on this cement ramp, take it up to his other place, and then unload it there, because there was another cement ramp right up there just like it. Now we're coming up on a little hill right here. It's Donald Hill. I have no idea how it got its name.
What is it called?
Donald
Hill?
Donald Hill. I don't know.
No one would know that now because there's no sign.
No, there was never any sign that I know of. Up here on the left-hand side was the Tyler School. It was back in there somewhere, and I think that they buried it before they centralized. Each small school had a name to it, and it was numbered. And this is the Tyler School District. We're going down to here in the general vicinity of your stone house. McDougal was her name. It was Jack McDougal, and why they called him Beechnut, I really don't know. I had sheep for a couple of years, and I had one that lost his mother, so I brought it down to the house and fed it down there. And they said that when a lamb is born, it will wean from its mother at 120 days. This is what I've been told. So when I brought him up here and put him with the rest of the sheep, twice a day I would stop with a bottle of warm milk, and I would call him and he would come to the fence. After 120 days he wouldn't come anymore. A while ago, Earl Goodwin, which is 91 years old, he says, I remember of delivering a piece of machinery up, and there was a farm way back in from the road. And I says to Earl, we will make a trip up. And so we did. Now what I remember here is, I think family by the name of Flemings lived back in there. And the kids would walk from there all the way up through here, regardless of what the weather was. They would have to walk all the way up through here. And I remember sitting here with the school bus and watching them come up through. The farm here on the left was Elmer and Doris King, or we referred to him as Bub King. I don't know where the nicknames come from. Okay, you come down to this next place, and this would be Alice and Taylor Billings. And then they had a fellow, where he come from, where he went, a fellow by the name of Art Davis, was sort of the hired man or something like that. But the house was right here, and that was just a storage barn, and the cow barn was probably over there where you see that little wall, over in that vicinity, right in there somewhere. One night I was coming up to bale hay for the neighbors, and there was a glider from Ottawa going for distance, and he didn't figure he could make it over the woods here, so he landed his glider here in the field because he saw a spot where it had been mowed, and he figured it was a hayfield, be all right. And so once you had something going on here, you had the whole neighborhood come in, and what we had to do was we had to go take a wagon with some hay on it and go down and dismantle the wings off of it, bring it up here, and he called Ottawa, and Ottawa come over and picked up the plane. And then the next place on the left, I had to read it, and I don't know how to pronounce it, Edmund Labrage, a Canadian fella. Oh, well, whether he owned it or not, but that's when I first remember of him living here. And then Don Paddock lived here for a while. And then Alec and Agnes Amiot, Sherry Ferguson's mother and father, they had a house fire there. And it's one of these things that I forgot. It seemed as though he didn't even have a telephone at the time, and he had to come down to Mom's and tell them the house was on fire. It's all County Route 6. Now, you look at the map, and it's all County Route 6. But I guess, to me, this is Calaboga.
It's not just the road, it's like the district, the neighborhood.
The neighborhood. And it would start with down on Factory Road and down where you live, and then all the way up to here. There seemed to be a group of people that would work together here, and another group of people that would work together down below that way. Most of the time it would be when you had oats, to combine the oats or to thrash the oats, and then they would get together to fill silos, because usually one person had the chopper or the binder, and there'd be like 4 or 5 wagons that would draw corn back and forth. This is the Calaboga School, what's left of it. It centralized in 1945, so September of 45, when I was in the 7th grade. A lot of the country schools closed. This isn't nearly as what it was before.
What do you mean?
There's nothing here compared to what it was when I grew up or when I left the farm in 1968 or something.
There's nothing here now. There were more farms back then?
Yes. Each individual farm, I would say, run about 120 acres. And maybe they would have less than 30 cows. And of course, back a long while ago, you milked them by hand. I was milking cows when I was 6 years old, milking by hand.
So what happened then is farms bought up other farms, and they've just gotten a lot bigger?
Nuts. When I grew up, they were still here yet. But after that, well, take my father, when, they all died off, moved somewhere else or something like that. And somebody else bought them up, and then they wanted to get more. And
So are there lots of missing buildings too? Do you remember more barns and more houses?
yes,